Have you heard of the story of Thomas Becket?
Yes, well, a long time ago.
What do you know about that story?
About the fact that Henry wanted rid of this pest, and now the knights took him literally at his word and came down and killed him. Yes.
Have you heard of Thomas Becket?
Yep.
What do you know about him?
I had top of his head chopped off.
Who by?
4 nights.
And hung.
Yeah, I've heard the story of Thomas Becket. He was murdered in there. Who will rid me of this meddlesome priest? Yes.
What is it that makes the story so memorable?
Murder in the cathedral. It is a very dramatic story, even if the miracles and so on are less well known, but the fact that he was murdered in the cathedral, I think, starts people remembering him.
Do you think at that stage they intended to murder Becket?
At that stage, I would have thought no.
A lot of adrenaline pumping and been travelling for about 3 days, quite a long way from France.
A combination of fatigue, fear, excitement, I suppose, trepidation.
Thomas Becket, you're under arrest for breaking the King's peace.
But I've committed no crime.
Where's the traitor Thomas Becket?
The story of Thomas Becket's murder has passed into legend. This is our attempt to tell the story, based on the available sources. But it's important to remember it's only one version of events.
Well, in a way, it was a bit like a soap opera. He was murdered in the cathedral, which was a crime of all crimes. I mean, if it happened today, it would be amazing, but to happen then, when religion held such a bearing to everybody, was just fantastical, really. There were 2 men, Henry II and Thomas Becket, who were great friends, and they had this great dispute, but really it was about how powerful the church would become, and it was not just a fight between 2 men, but it was a fight between the crown and the church, and ultimately about power and politics.
Henry II came to the throne in 1154. He was a strong king. He was supposed to have had a furious temper.
You have to learn that I have the power to override any decision you make, because I am the king.
Henry had this terrible temper, and it's often been said that that's why Becket was murdered, that he flew into a temper and ordered his murder. Do you see it like that?
No, not for me so much. That's too simple. That's a nice, well-crafted story that historians have taken a long time to come up with. And who will rid me of this turbulent priest? It's all part of the myth, I think. Yes, absolutely. He had a very, very bad temper, definitely. But if you look at the kind of chronological order of things, from the point at which he and Thomas Becket fell out to the point that Thomas Becket died, it takes place over several years. So there was lots of room for negotiation. It wasn't a totally kind of hot-headed thing.
And in fact, it was Henry who was always making concessions.
Well, absolutely. Henry had it very firmly in the back of his mind that he and Thomas Becket had been very good friends for a number of years, and it was Henry that constantly came up with ways of resolving the situation, to which Becket was going constantly, I don't want to know, I don't want to play. So, yeah, you could argue he was very tolerant.